Good evening, everybody. How's it going? I'm Steve Molloy, your host with Real Talk Fins Talk, and we got two distinguishing guests on here tonight. We've got Britt Legassi from Fins Talk Sports Network and Overtime. We've got Greg Meyne from Fins Talk Sports Network and Overtime as well. So, how you guys doing tonight? Start with you, Britt. How you doing?
I'm good. I'm good. It's actually nice to have something to talk about positively with the Dolphins. And sorry about the voice; is a little scratchy, a little smoker voice today. Been dealing with a cough last few days.
No
But no, I'm,
problem.
I'm excited about this team and at least trying to go in the right direction.
Yeah, that's a good point. Greg, how about you? How you been, man?
I've been really good. Just looking forward to all the news that comes out every single day about all the movement within the organization. This
Yeah,
has this has been fun. I don't care what anybody says. This is new. It's exciting, and it's cool to open up the phone every morning. Let's put it that way.
yeah, for
Yeah,
sure. I'm
and,
excited
and
too.
we're not the Browns going with Todd Monken. No offense to him, but I don't think that was their plan, a head coach. So
No,
I'm kind of glad, like, hey, wait a minute, maybe we got a guy that was good, hopefully. I mean, a lot of teams wanted them, but I mean,
yeah,
a lot of teams wanted Gase at one point, too. So there's that. And a lot of people
yeah,
wanted Jeff Fisher for the second time around, for those of you
yeah,
who wanted the second time head coach.
yeah. Those are true. Those are true points. But I want to thank everybody for joining the show tonight. Everybody in the chat, everybody that's out there, wherever you're at, whether you're on Twitch, Facebook, X, wherever you're at, whatever platform, come over here. Give us a like, join the community over here. There's a bell down there. Hit that bell. If you're new to the channel, subscribe, then share with your friends, your families, and your neighbors. And before we get started, gentlemen, I just want to say, remember, we may not always agree everything Miami Dolphins, but there's one thing we do agree on. We are all Dolphins. So with that, as you said, Britt, and as you said, Greg, I almost forgot your name there for a second.
All right, Mr. Ross.
I know. I'm not quite that old yet, although I might look it with my white beard. But yeah, so like you all said, I'm excited to wake up every morning and to look at my Dolphin X account and see all the movement that's happening within the organization. And in fact, with that, we did have an addition today to our team of the Miami Dolphins. We had Brett, what's his name again? You're better with the names than
Liddell
I am.
Betts.
Lonell Betts, he's our running
Liddell.
back coordinator, Liddell Betts, and
Yep.
then also the offensive new offensive line coach, Yancer is his name.
Yeah, I believe it. I guess that's how you say it.
I have it right here,
Zach
but
Genser.
yeah. So he's coming to us as well, and I'll get all these coaches' names correct and all that. And I'm not really uh ready to get into a big discussion about all the coaches because they haven't been implemented yet. But there's a few that I'd like to talk about that we have implemented, and so I wanted to start with number one. I wanted to start with the important dates that we have coming up. So everybody's on top of this. Important dates ahead for the NFL and the Miami Dolphins. So February 9th is when the waiver period begins. It opens. February 17th, we have franchise tag window opens. It closes on March 3rd at 4 p.m. That's the franchise tag window. And then on March 9th, we have the early negotiating window opens for pending free agents and things. That's going to close at March 11th at 4 p.m. That's Eastern Standard Time. March 11th is 2026. That's going to be the league year and free agency period begins. UFAs, that's undrafted free agents. My bad. March
No.
9th is right.
UFA is unrestricted free agent.
Unrestricted.
UDFA is
Yeah.
undrafted free agent.
Yeah.
There we go. Thank you for that. I wanted to make that correction there. So UFAs is unrestricted free agents.
Correct.
That starts on March 9th is when the early negotiating window opens for them. And then March 11th is the 2026 league year and free agency period begins. Again, that closes at 4 p.m. Eastern time. Then we have March 29th through April 1st is the annual league meeting, and that's going to be held in Phoenix, Arizona. And if anybody's interested on that. And then April 6th is the Dolphins' first day of off-season program. So those are your dates for the Dolphins and the NFL. So,
Steve, say that again. What dates are the owners' meetings in Phoenix?
The owners' meetings in Phoenix. That is going to be on March 29th through April 1st.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Were you going to be in that area?
Time.
There you go.
Have to crash that party. Let's put it that
Yeah.
way.
Crash that party, man. We need all the help we can in this organization, you know. But anyway, so I want to talk to you gentlemen about the recent I guess the rehire again. He's hiring. We've got him back in the organization, and that's Slowick, right, Coach Slowick. And I know a lot of people were jumping the gun, and they were all all up in the air about, oh my God, that means Tua Tagovailoa is going to be back and all this kind of stuff because he runs the Shanahan system and all that. Brett, what's your thought on that?
It's a quarterback-friendly system, and it made Tua look good in 2023. So, yeah, a lot of quarterbacks can run it. I don't think he's coming back. I think that's already dead in the water. That relationship's already burnt. I think everything with Tua is pretty much as clear as day that he's gone. I think he also wants out. I don't think he's asking to stay. I think he knows his time is limited in the NFL. In fairness, if I'm him, I don't want to play for a team that's getting ready to rebuild or retool, whatever you want to call it. They're starting over, and he knows that, and he knows if he's a part of that, that's just 1 year that he has kind of going to waste. So, I also think like this team is going to take a huge hit up front on free cap wise. So I believe the biggest thing is just they've already moved on. I think the owners already moved on. I think Ross is kind of like showing, hey, this is a new day. Everybody's gone. And Aikman, if he was that much involved, I could see Aikman saying move on for Tua, kind of pushing that now. Just move on, trying to find somebody else. But yeah, I don't just because Slowick was promoted to OC for familiarity, it doesn't necessarily mean Tua's back. That just means they're going with familiar system, smooth transition. Whether they stay that way after this year or whatever they do. I mean, it's a good chance to go and stay the Shanahan system anyway because Hafley's most of his success off the successful offenses he's been around in the NFL were with the Shanahans. I forgot the offensive coordinator was Mike Sullivan that he was around in Tampa Bay. That under Shiana, that offense was not very good. So he seems to gravitate towards the Shanahan guys. He was there with Cleveland with them, and then he moved over to San Fran, was with Chip Kelly for a year. Then the Shanahans kept him there. Then obviously he worked again with LaFleur in Green Bay. So I think he's pretty comfortable with that system. So I think that's part of the hire too. So I think forget Slowick was on the Dolphins. No matter who they hired, I don't think that meant they're keeping Tua. Could be wrong.
Yeah. No. I kind of agree with you. I think that ship has sailed as far as Tua Tagovailoa goes. If they were going to keep him around, I think they would have emphasized that fact. Yes, he's our starting quarterback. He's our franchise guy. He's he that's it. He's the starter, and we're going to have to move on and develop players in other areas. But Greg, how do you feel? What's your thoughts?
I'm fine with Slowick being the offensive coordinator. He called plays and was offensive coordinator in Houston for a couple years. He was brought here and basically learned the offense. I think the offense will be different. It'll look a lot different next year. But it's fine that he stayed on the staff, and even if they went outside and hired somebody new, it'd be somebody like Slowick, in my opinion. So they're going to run the Shanahan type system. There's nothing wrong with that. I'm just hoping that it's not as much motion and shifts and things. Let's line up and play football. And yeah, I'm fine. Tua's gone. There's no ifs, ands, buts about it. Even if he's still on the roster, he's not playing. It's just not happening. So it's time to move on. It's tough to clean house. And like I've said a couple other times, the Dolphins were going to move, basically half the roster this year anyway. All right. And now with a new coach and a new organization and everything, it's going to be a drastically different looking roster in 26 compared to what it was in 25. So you're looking at probably 30 some odd new players that are going to be on the 53-man roster here. And that's a good thing. I'll just say that.
Yeah. And we'll get to that. We'll get to maybe some of the players that you feel that we should keep, or you think in some of the players you might think that are going to be, released. I wanted to get a little bit more into this Slowick thing. So I know you both said you feel that it's a good thing. How different do you think this offense is going to be as opposed to Mike McDaniel's Shanahan system that he ran over here? What do you see? Or I mean, I know we can't, we have no clue, right? I mean, but what are some of your ideas that how do you feel it's going to change? I'll go with.
Okay, Greg.
I was going to say, if we take Gaffley at his word, or Hafley at his word, I'm sorry. We're going to be a power running attack, with play action and with quarterback movement. Okay. That's a different type of Shanahan offense, running the West Coast offense than what Tua was running with McDaniel and so on and so forth. All right. That could mean a different type of offensive line. So there could be substantial changes on the offensive line to make that work. That could mean a different type of running back. All right. Outside of Achane, there could be more 50-50 carries and things of that nature with this type of offense. I can't imagine that, the new head coach with this vision of this team would hire an offensive coordinator with a different vision. So I would say that it's going to look different. It's going to be more, inside zone, more straight up power, more using your tight ends to, crash down on defensive tackles, trap blocking and things of that nature. So more play action passes off of that. Exactly right. Day one, so it's going to be the basis of it. The structure of the offense is going to be Shanahan West Coast offense, but it's just going to look more power running and more play action passing. So I'd imagine that's the way Slowick's going to call it. Now, Slowick has a history of throwing a lot. So we're going to have to see what that's going to all entail. And I'm not against that either, because I think it's a hard row, to hoe when you're trying to beat Buffalo and New England right now with a power running game. I just don't think that's there's success in that. So we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens.
Yeah. Now, when you say a power running game, even though we're going to be doing that wide or, outside zone type stuff, I know he did mention, he wanted to do some he didn't say I wasn't going to do any outside zone, but he said he'd like to do more inside. And he wants to be able to run the ball when defenses know they're going to run the ball, he's going to want to be able to run the ball and just pound it at him anyway. So I like that philosophy. Do you think that changes, as you said, you mentioned Achane, we got Ollie Gordon, we got Wright. Do you think that changes the Achane's role in the system, or do you think he'll have the same role as he did, say, in the last couple of years?
I think Achan's role has to change. If what we are hearing right now is true, his role
I can hear
has
the
to change.
keyboard typing so fast right now.
Yeah,
I know it.
I understand that, but
All Dolphin players great.
Yeah.
but it's just one of those things where if he comes from Josh Jacobs, right, in a power running game in Green Bay. You
Yeah.
can't
And the great Chris Brooks, the Dolphins' great Chris Brooks.
Yeah, exactly. But you can't ask Achan to do that, right? That's just not who he is. So either what he's saying right now is not going to be what happens in for the offense in 2026, or you're going to get a different player that's going to have some a substantial amount of carries other than Achan. So his role could change. And you know what? If he gets 10, 12 carries a game and another 4 or 5 catches, and he's still touching the ball 15 plus times, I don't think that matters. And we'll just see what happens. I think the O-line's going to look different. I think the running game's going to look different. And, Achan might be the primary running back. He might be doing all of this. But based on what we've heard, I wouldn't be surprised if things changed drastically.
Yeah. Right. And you also mentioned that includes the O-line. You think that might change as well? Do you think Patrick Paul might fit this type of the scheme, or do you think the
big people, the people that won't fit this scheme, this power running scheme right now, are essentially your 3 interior offensive linemen. You need a heavier, more point of attack type center than what we have now.
Yeah, that's what I wanted to know. I know a lot of folks love Aaron Brewer and everything, and I do too. And he was a really good center for us the last couple of years. But that's what I was thinking too. Is I don't know if he's going to fit the scheme as a power blocker for the run game. I know he's good at getting at the second level in his blocks for the outside zone. His pass blocking is okay. He's a good pass blocker. His strengths are that run game, but utilizing the outside zone more than power type back.
He's very good at getting to the second level. Right. He's not so good at the point of attack. One of the reasons why Miami struggled at the point of attack in short yardage situation is because defenses would line up a 320-pound plus guy, right on Brewer, and Brewer could move him. All right. So if you don't get movement at center in short yards, yardage situations, it's hard to gain those short yardage, attempts. So again, we're just basing this on everything that's being said right now. This 2-week high that we're on, with the new coach and things like that.
Right? For sure.
So once we get the players on the field, once we get to assess what the strengths and weaknesses are, this might be different. All right, because every coach will adapt to their personnel, and that's what you should you should do. So it might change back, but right now, based on what he's saying, we need some help in the interior offensive line, and we would need a power running back to at least take some of the carries that Achan got last year.
Okay, yeah, I can see that. Good points.
What's up, Rob?
Britt, how about yourself? How do you feel about this? Do you think Achan is going to fit this specific scheme that what?
Achan equals Landry.
Achan equals Landry. Okay.
Yeah, overrated by the fans. An ex-great Hall of Fame player, a good player who's a talented player, is a good role player. Should not be the starting running back next year. And they're going to lob, oh my God, but Achan, this and that. Honestly, I like Achan. I think he's a good player, but people talking about like he's this elite player are just lying to themselves. There's not a lot of elite running backs in the NFL, and like I like Achan, but we're just because there aren't a lot of elite players doesn't make everybody elite. Um, like you don't see what Christian McCaffrey does from him. You don't see what Clinton Portis used to do. You don't see LaDainian Thomason like that. That's Saquon Barkley, any of that. Like, excuse me, he's a good running back, but he shouldn't be
Mhm.
the starter, and he's not going to be the starter. They're going to want to get to a physical approach, but I mean, a physical run game doesn't. It's more about the running back than anything else. The lanes are there. You know, the running backs have not been overly physical. Achan does break tackles, but if you notice when he breaks tackles is when he's able to get out in space and get defenders off balance. When he's able to get
Mhm.
a full head of steam where he can get them slightly off balance, and it's because he's so fast and he's hard to tackle. And he presents a small tackle area, but it's very often you don't see very often him pushing a pile and all that stuff.
Mhm.
I fully expect them to get a bigger running back this all season, whether it's free agency, whether it's a draft. Kenneth Walker, I welcome with open arms. I'm all about it. That angry downhill one cut runner knows the system, all about it. They seem to like what's his name better. I don't know why it's Charbonnet. I like Kenneth Walker's ability better, but I would love to
Yeah,
have
I
him.
do too. I do too.
So and he kind of reminds you of the same kind of players, Jacobs in Green
Mhm.
Bay. Um so
But
yeah, they're
isn't
gonna have
Kenneth Walker? I know he's a small kind of a small guy, right? Or is he Kenneth
no, he,
Walker? Is it
he's short. He's 5'9",
short?
but
Right.
he's small. If Frank Gore's small, I mean they're kind of the same size. Like
Okay.
was Frank Gore
Gotcha.
215, 220, and he's
Yeah, something like
about
that.
that. Yeah,
215,
so
220.
and he's a
Yeah.
low to the ground runner too.
Right. Right.
But no, he's
I
not
get your point.
small in that sense. He's
Yeah, I
bigger.
see what you're saying.
He's definitely bigger than Achan. So
He's thick. He's thick.
yeah, yeah. So
Yeah.
but yeah, no, so no, I don't see Achan having the same role. In fact, I can almost see them trading Achan. Um,
Mm.
but you know, like Matt LaFleur,
That's
who's
a bad
more
word. That's a bad word
what
in
I
Dolphin land.
honestly, him talking about all the players, everyone's like, "Oh my God, these are the new faces." Yeah, Waddle and Achan, Brooks, they're here to stay. That was just the guys Wingfield brought up. I think they're going to. I think that was definitely a sale tactic to say, "Yeah, these guys are great, man. I like having these
Mm.
talent. How much you want for them?" You know what I mean? Like
Right. Right.
I can
Right.
see them
Right.
trading some guy, if especially if it makes sense cap wise. And now, mind
Mm-hmm.
you, you have to pay with no money the next 2 years. You have to pay
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Achan. So do you trade him while his value's hot
Mm-hmm.
or what? So um but I think people are rating him like Jarvis Landry. What happened after Jarvis Landry left? Good player
Mm-hmm.
still, but that's it. And that's what Miami
Yeah.
Dolphins are full of.
Yeah.
As far as
Yeah.
Slowick, though, I think the system is going to be similar to what Mike McDaniel ran as far as pass to throw percentage. I already broke it down. I sent it to Greg where McDaniel
Right.
and um, Slowick were more pass happy. Um, some of you are probably going to think we're going to be running the ball a lot. Could, but I still see an offense that leans towards the pass. And for those saying that we have to run the ball more, this and that, if that's your take, everybody says well, Miami had a good run game in 2023. Miami was 15th in rush attempts in the NFL. They were number 5 in pass attempts in 2023. They threw the ball almost 200 times more. Why did the Dolphins have more success on offense? Why did they win more games that year than they did this year or 24? Because the offense was built to throw the football. Greg's been saying it for a long time. This offense has been built to throw the football. In today's NFL, you win by throwing the football. So, and Miami was doing really well. So, to me, it's Slowick knows that. And believe it or not, Halfley knows that. The GM Sully knows that. Where he come from, I still remember Ryan Grant got hurt that year. The Packers won the Super Bowl, and they had shoot, I forgot his name now. Was good but not great. They won by throwing the football because you win through your quarterback. So, and they knew
Mm-hmm.
that. Halfley knows that. Sully knows that. They all know it. So and I think that's what we're going to see. It's just the style of run game is going to be different. So it'll be a little bit more physical.
Yeah. Let's, if you take a look back at the 2025 season, all right, Miami was 31st in plays run, okay, on offense, all right? They had one more play run than the Las Vegas Raiders on offense, okay? And of that, they still only ran the ball 432 times. They passed the ball for over 500. All right. That's balanced in this NFL. And the offense wasn't very good. Okay. So I want to see more plays. I want to see more offensive plays. And I want to see, more explosive plays. That's what we need to talk about. That's something else that Halfley discussed in an interview with Rich Eisen. All right. On defense, he's focused on stopping explosive plays. On offense, we need to create explosive plays. And most of those offensive explosive plays are in the passing game.
Well, prime example, Seattle. The Seattle game. Did you see the Seattle game?
Yeah.
What happened? All those explosive plays were throws.
And what did Greg and I talked about it? The Seahawks led the league in rush attempts. There are 47 in pass attempts, 47%, which means they threw the ball 53% of the time.
Right.
And they ran the ball the most and out of everybody. And how do they win that game?
Explosive plays, passing.
Yeah. Yeah. Well,
for sure.
What did the Rams lack that game?
Explosive plays.
Yeah. I mean, they still had some. Matthew Stafford showed why he right now, currently, you can make obviously the argument with Mahomes, but Matthew Stafford is the best quarterback in the league right now. Like he ran them, he got them down. And I don't care what anybody says, like Puka Nacua is good and Devontae Adams is good, but even though he's not as good as he used to be, dude, it's him that's getting it's Matthew Stafford that gets him down the field.
Oh yeah, the guy, he's so cerebral. It's unbelievable. He just knows the game. He has a very high football IQ. It's amazing.
Yeah.
Greg, were you going to say something?
I was going to say just about the Rams, right? What team led the league with tight end receptions this year?
Rams.
It was the Rams, but it was spread out over 4 tight ends.
Wow.
Yeah.
And we have one maybe that can catch it.
Yeah. Well,
everybody says the offensive line was Greer's worst. No, tight end was the worst position he drafted.
Right. Let's talk about that. Let's talk about that since you brought it up. Do you think Dulcich will still be with us next year? Or Dulcich or Dulcich? However you pronounce his name.
Probably.
Do you? Okay. I like
because he's cheap.
Yeah, he's cheap.
He's not making any money, so yeah.
He's cheap and he's a leader. Like the familiarity with the system, right? So you're talking a guy who knows the system, comes right in. You bring in a young tight end. Hey, I got a guy who's still able to start, be capable, and him. Everybody likes Dulcich. I thought he did a good job in Miami.
He did,
but he's average. It's just that,
and
that's a good thing. That's okay. You can have average guys like that in a roster. They fill the role, right? They less expensive. They make plays when they need to. He's just an average blocker, average receiver. He was just, our guys were so bad that he made it look like he was an all-pro tight end.
Yeah. He really looked good out there. You're right. How about Waller? You think we'll keep Waller or Hill?
I think Waller and Hill are both gone. I'm not so sure Dulcich is on the roster. He might be a free agent.
Oh, he might be.
I know there's 33 agents this year, so you might very well be right.
No, he's off the roster.
He is off the roster?
Yeah, 2026, he's a free agent.
Oh, wow.
Well, okay. This is 26.
So are we going to sign him back?
Oh, maybe.
That's
I
the
don't know.
question. I mean, we could sign it for cheap. I don't think he's going to be asking for too much. I mean, hell, we took him off the damn practice squad. You know what I
That's
mean?
true.
So, I'd bring him back. Why not?
No,
But
he's a good number 2. You still need a number 1.
yeah,
No, I agree with
Yeah.
all that.
I think we need a number 1. How about a Kyle Pitts? Are y'all up for a Kyle Pitts?
I don't know if he fits the offense. I'll say it that way. A power running game, any type of a successful running game, you need to block the edges, and you need tight ends to do that.
Right.
There was a comment earlier about Miami's run game improving. Once they brought in the 6th offensive lineman, right, and the jumbo package. Well, that's because he's basically playing the tight end role of securing the edge. So once we started blocking that, we got better running the ball. So I would look at larger physical inline blocking type tight ends first and foremost, and then pass catching secondly. And if the Green Bay Packers want to trade Kraft because of the injury, we'll take him.
Oh, 100%. Yeah.
That guy's good.
Yes, sir. No doubt about
I'd even
that.
take one of the ones from Buffalo for now.
From where?
Buffalo.
Oh, you mean Knox?
Yeah, I'd take Knox.
Yeah.
I mean,
was it not Knox?
He's an upgrade.
I think he's available too.
Yeah, I mean, he's
good.
I don't think he's like as good as the top guys, but I think he'd definitely be a good sign.
He's a good inline blocker.
Yeah, and like receiving wise, he's definitely capable. He's more than capable of getting. So I would definitely bring him in if they don't resign him, which they could because they need their weapons, and having 2 good tight ends is definitely a good thing to have. So
yeah, I agree with that. So let's talk about the offense a little bit too. The O-line. So we've already talked about Aaron Brewer. What are they going to do with Jonah Sevaniah? That's what I want to know. And AJ Austin Jackson, are they going to? Would he fit a power type blocking scheme? Those two.
The scheme's not really changing.
Yeah.
Sevaniah, I'm not sure can work in any scheme right now because of his footwork. He really needs to improve drastically to be a quality player on the O-line. I think Jackson would actually, benefit from that more power run game. His problem is going to be he's not a very good pass protector.
Injury.
And he's injured a lot. So there's a lot there to unpack. I think Patrick Paul's basically the only one that they're going to keep. And I would not be surprised if they look to move on or upgrade the other 4 positions.
Well,
interesting.
So the offensive line is going to be a talk for a while, and it's never going to end. And all the incorrect information about the offensive line continues to keep seeing that we still need offensive line. We need to build inside out, build offensive line first. It's a load of crap. So the one thing I want to say about offensive line, I agree with Greg. I do think there's going to be some turnover there. Brewer, I think, is just going to depend on this contract kind of thing. And I think Brewer saves us some money. So I think they're going to move on from Brewer. Here, right now, you save post 6-1, trade or cut. You had 2.1 dead cap this year, and 2027 you have 5.4 million. If you do pre-release or trade, you save. You have dead cap with 7.6 million this year, and then you save about 1.5 million. That opens cap this year and next.
And we need cap.
I would say it's probably better to go ahead and do a 6-1, but he saves you money. Then you got to find somebody. So I don't know. That's point 8 is if they can afford to keep him, he might stay. But if they see him as a way to save money, he's gone.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
as far as like offensive line goes, everybody's thinking they're going to go offensive line first every pick. Already broke it down. The Packers, and this is just since Sully was there in 2003 until this year, they drafted, I want to say like 5 offensive linemen. Jordan Morgan at 24. Before that, it was just a few years later in 2011, they drafted Derek Sherrod, and the year before, Brian Bulaga. And, well, that's it. That's the only offensive lineman they've drafted in the first round since when Sully was there in 2003.
Right.
Not that he doesn't make decisions. He's talked it time and time again. He follows that system.
Mm-hmm.
The line that they focus on most is D tackles. They've done that the most. But the point I'm making is I don't expect them to fix this early in the draft at all. I expect them to fix this a lot in the mid rounds, and that's where Green Bay went offensive line a lot. The 3 offensive linemen taken by the Packers have all been offensive tackles. So the way the draft is shaping up this year, offensive tackle would make sense looking at their history, looking at, the way the draft could fall. I could see that. I just don't see it every year.
Mm-hmm.
As far as that goes, though, the offensive line that we have is not that big of a problem. It can be upgraded, but it's not this major project that's like it's holding the team back, this and that. You could trot that offensive line out this year, and you're gonna have and you can put different players, different quarterback in there, and all of a sudden you have success. You know what I mean? So it's not so much the offensive line. It needs to be upgraded. It's not that it doesn't. I'm not saying that, but what I'm saying is a lot of people are putting the finger on the offensive line when the offensive line is like one of the last issues wrong with the offense. Again, the edge blocking has been awful, but the offensive tackles have basically done their job, especially Paul. It's just the tight ends were awful. So tight end needs to get upgraded soon.
Okay.
And one thing I will say about tight end, okay, it's becoming a position that you can draft early and get success early with. All right. This year, Loveland and I just had the kid that's in Indianapolis from Penn State.
Tyler Warren?
Yeah. Tyler Warren. All right. Mm-hmm. They were impact players basically the entire year as rookies, playing tight end and blocking pretty well. All right. Mm-hmm. If there's a tight end at 11 and you think that that's the place to go get it. Dolphin Thirsty's talking about Sadiq out of Oregon. That dude's going to be a stud.
I like Sadiq a lot, and I've already said that I can see this regime drafting him. I can see it.
I could see it as well because it's an important position and it helps make that offense run. That Hafley and John Eric are familiar with. Mm-hmm. All right. You having 1 or 2 good tight ends that can block and catch the ball, that opens up a lot of things on your offense. And Miami hasn't had one of those in a while.
Yeah, they really haven't. They really haven't. And going back to Achane, I know I'm backtracking, but yeah, and we're talking about the cap. We were just talking about the cap. I know you were, Britt. Yeah, that means, and we got to pay Achane this year, right? I mean, I think he's going to expect an extension. And you're looking at Brooks is going to expect an extension on the defense side. Minka's going to want some more money, and Aaron Brewer. Yeah, I think Minka's going to Aaron Brewer.
Though they don't trade Brooks, though. You can probably extend him.
Yeah.
And actually open cap space with him.
Yeah, well, we need to
pretty
keep
much.
Brooks. I think we need to keep
Brooks. Pretty much getting rid of this one this year. And moving it to next year, just adding it on to what he'll make next year. So you're not kicking it down the road. You're just basically adding it to what he'll make next year.
Right.
But if you look at, I don't want to get, into the weeds here on the cap thing, but if you look at the top 6 players on the active roster for Miami right now, the top 6 highest paid players, all right? You got Tua, you got Tyreek Hill, you got Bradley Chubb, you got Minka Fitzpatrick, you got Austin Jackson, and you got Jalen Waddle, right? There's a good possibility that all 6 of those players are gone. Start of the season. And the dead cap ramifications and everything of that nature, that could be just wild. But again, your top 6 players, in my mind, aren't players that are going to be here when Miami's challenging for a Super Bowl in 2 to 3 years. They're just not, So I think you need to get, you need to get something for them right now if you can, and let the chips fall.
Yeah, I'm with that 100%. I mean, I like Waddle, I like HN, I really do. But yeah, we need to, number one, we need to fix this cap, the cap hell we're in, and they've emphasized that. The coaching has emphasized that. Sully and Half, they both emphasized that, and that's what we got to get fixed first. And the way to do that is you trade Waddle for some assets, you trade HN for some assets, and what are we going to say, Britt?
The Waddle contract.
Mm-hmm.
I can't remember if they save anything this year or not.
Really?
Yeah, hang on. I got to look. One of the contracts they have is pretty much damning. I want to say it's Austin Jackson.
Okay, yeah.
His contract's pretty hard to get out. Not hard, but you know what I mean. Oh yeah, so Waddle pre 6-1 is negative 28 million in savings this year, and pre 6-1 trade is negative 11.6. If they release them, it's negative 11, so you have to trade them. But so trading game, here's what it was: 6.75 million in 2026. In 2027, it's a dead cap of 16.5 million, and then the savings this year is 5 million. So, that's a little tough. So
I mean, it wouldn't be a bad thing if we keep them, but
now. Next year, you save like 27 million with the post 6-1. But I think if they get a good pick for them, then yeah, it's worth trading them as a post 6-1. If they can't get a good pick for them, then you have to really weigh the options there. Like if it's a first or
first is tempting.
I think you have to go with 2 picks. But if it's like a second and a third, if it's like a third or fourth or third or fifth or whatever, I don't know if I take it. I don't know if it opens enough cap space where I can at least play him for a year. Because I think it hurts you next year more than it helps you.
Right. Britt, can you answer this question, or one of you gentlemen? I'm not familiar with these two.
I don't know. I haven't watched them enough to know for sure. But Utah offensive linemen, I don't know if they really – I don't know. I have to look at it all a lot. Yeah, everybody's raving about the kid from Miami.
Bain?
No, the offensive tackle.
The offensive tackle.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah. Anyway, we'll get into that. I know, Brett, you get into the draft. You're on the aren't you on the draft show this year?
Not as heavy as I was, but I'm gonna try to get in a little bit.
Okay. Sounds good. So let's shift over to the defense side now. Well, let's stick with the offense. Let's talk about the receivers. We've already discussed Waddle. How about Malik Washington? Is he a keeper? Is Theo Reese a keeper? Who's the other wide receiver we have now? I don't even know who they are. Oh, Taj Washington. Are any of those keepers?
I think you keep Malik Washington, and then all the other positions I think are kind of just up in the air. To be honest with you, assuming Hill is gone and Waddle's here,
right. I was assuming that already.
Yeah, you need to rebuild that room. Let's put it that way. There's a lot of in that room without Tariq Hill. I'll just say it that way. So you need, if this is another draft, potential pick in the first or second round is wide receiver for the Dolphins. They need help in that room. There's just no ifs, ands, buts about it. Right. It's a position that needs help.
For sure.
Yeah. Britt, and how do you see it, Britt? Do you think they should, if they go with that route and they draft someone in the second or third round wide receiver, are you looking for a bigger, taller wide receiver, or are you happy with the the shorties that we've had the last the 4 years.
Well, I like what we have with well, I like we have. I don't mind Waddle for what he is.
Mhm.
You know what I mean?
Mhm.
I think I do want to get size in that room, and they're going to. Malik Washington is not necessarily a guy he's not big, but he's not small. He's
He's
that
physical.
versatile.
He
Yeah.
is physical.
He's pretty much what him and Achan are similar in a sense of receiver style.
Mhm. Yeah.
He's like having a running back at receivers. I think you definitely
Mhm.
keep him.
Yep.
Taj Washington's cheap. He's not great. You can move on from him.
Mhm.
If you don't have to, that's fine. But like it's
Mhm.
bottom of the roster kind of guy right now.
He's another small guy, though.
Yeah. You just you draft the receiver, which I definitely see them doing this draft. It's a decent receiver draft. I could see that at pick 11. I could see the tight end, Kenny Shadik there. So I could see them addressing receiver in the draft. For agency, it's hard to say. I don't know what kind of money they're going to have, what they'll do. I don't foresee them spending big in free agency like ever.
Mhm.
That's just not the MO of
He
where
said
they
his
come from.
second. He said his second year they'll look
Yeah.
to free agency, and
Yeah.
they like to get if they get free agents, they like them to be someone that's going to be an impact player, right?
Well, they're
not-
going to have to go for agency this year, though. They have no choice.
Yeah, I think
But
you're
they're
right.
not going to go like spend big, but they're going to have to sign some guys that fit what they do, that are affordable.
Like a
But
Roman Dobbs.
yeah, I can see Dobbs being like brought in, but they're definitely going to go
Mhm.
taller guys. Green Bay has always had bigger physical receivers, and then they've always had guys like Greg Jennings,
Yeah.
Donald Driver, who do some of the dirty work underneath and
Mhm.
can also get deep too. But
Mhm.
for the most part, a lot of their guys are taller, they're bigger, they're I won't say physical, but they're tough. Like they can play against man coverage. And the biggest thing to emphasize, getting open. I mean,
Yeah.
getting open at all levels, being able to use your size,
Yeah.
your speed, and all that. Like think of Jordy
Yeah.
Nelson style guys. That's who they're going to go after.
Mm.
And that's something that
Interesting.
Green Bay's always been successful with.
Yeah, I
That
remember
tight end.
Jordy and Driver
They
and
had
all those
Driver,
guys.
Jordy, Javon Walker, Greg
Yeah.
Jennings,
Yeah.
James Jones.
Mhm.
Then the list goes on. Randall Cobb.
Mhm. Yeah, Randall Cobb too. Yeah, I remember him.
You want to be physical in the running game, you need to be physical outside the blocking as well. All right. We keep hearing that we don't want to, that the new coaching staff is going to eliminate the soft label when it comes to the Miami Dolphins, right?
Mhm.
I hate to say it like this, but you eliminate the soft label by getting bigger at the skill positions. All right.
Yeah.
You're getting more
Yeah.
physical at the skill positions. All right. The
Mhm.
offensive line and defensive line, they're going to be physical. Okay.
And you guys brought up a good point about the tight ends being physical and good blockers and all that. And just as well, wide receivers have to be good blockers too, especially if you're going to run any type of outside zone for sure.
To run the outside game, to run the screens that you want to run. Okay.
Yeah.
You got to have people who can block on the outside. And
Yeah.
so look, that's what I mean when this roster turnovers, that's why I don't think Waddle's safe. All right. Waddle is
I don't
not
think anybody's safe.
And Waddle is not that type of player that they keep talking about wanting. So, let's see what happens here when it's all said and done about these
Mhm.
skill positions.
Mhm.
You cannot be a physical team with a finesse running back and finesse wide receivers. It just doesn't work that way. And that's basically what Miami's had for the last couple of years. Now, they had success with it in 23, 22, 23, and things like that, fastest show on surf or whatever you want to call it, things like that.
The greatest show on surf.
Yeah, whatever.
Get it right, Greg.
But it worked, high scoring, high flying team, things like that.
Right.
That's not what this sounds like right now. And again, once we get to camp and things like that, it might change again. But what they're saying now, we do not have the personnel to run it. and that's on offense specifically, and that's what I want to see. I want to see what this new roster is going to look like, through free agency, through the draft, through trades. Who gets cut. It's going to be an interesting offseason. It's going to be a fun offseason, one of the funnest off seasons we've had in a long time because of that.
Yeah, I agree. And I want to thank everybody for joining me tonight, man. I see you all in there. We got Brian 35 Dayon. I've seen Mr. Sebring. I've seen him in there. Dolphin Thirsty. Thank you for sticking with us on the show. Appreciate you. Everybody's making great comments. I love it. Make sure you hit that like button, everyone. If you're new to the channel, I see a lot of new names in the chat. Make sure you hit that subscribe button down there, that bell, not button, that bell down there, and share with your friends, your families, and your neighbors. We got about 8-10 minutes left, so I want to talk a little bit about the defensive side of the ball a little bit. If we don't finish, that's fine. We'll continue on at another time show. I'll have you both on again. Definitely will want you guys back on again. Defense side of the ball, we already know that our defensive play caller is going to be Half, right? Coach Half. He's going to do all the defensive calls. I know he's got a couple defensive coordinators in mind, but they've been mentioned, names that have been mentioned. I'm not going to mention them because we don't know for sure yet until they sign with the Miami Dolphins. I'll mention their names, but he does have a couple in mind. One of them he's very familiar with, coming from Green Bay. But the thing, and basically they're just going to be, they're going to run the show in the off season, right? They're going to install the defense in the off season to Half's liking. And then Half is going to be doing all the calls. I'm sure, these guys are going to play a part too as well, the defensive coordinator in during the games as well. But how do you see this defense developing? How do you think we have some players on this D line right now that we could develop and fit the system that he wants to implement into the defense, our defense? Greg? Again,
all right, we can just go by what they're saying, right?
Mm-hmm.
It sounds like that they want to move into a 4-3 type base alignment. All right,
that's what I heard. Yeah.
If that's the case, then I am concerned about all of the defensive tackles that we drafted last year. What their fit's going to be, and then who's going to be playing the edge defensive end positions. All right, Chubb isn't guaranteed to come back.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Doesn't really hold up to the run very well. So there's some outside defensive end, type players that Miami would need to complete this offense. I do think Sealer at a 3 technique would be good. And I think Grant or somebody at the 1 technique in the 4-3, can work as well.
I think all 3 of the guys that got in the draft last year can play the same.
They can play the 1, but who else is going to play the 3?
I think I would.
Biggers, Zeke Biggers.
Yeah, Biggers is the one I was thinking of. I think he could.
He maybe. I don't know. It's when you change fronts. All right, it doesn't seem like that big a deal. To the average fan and things like that. How much different can it be? It's different. It requires a different skill set. There's a reason why 3-4 defensive tackles don't always transition to a 4-3 well, and vice versa. So it'll be different there. I think the linebacking core is going to be fine. And I think they've already acknowledged that there's going to be some work needs to be done in the secondary. So,
yeah.
So
that's going to be their focus, just based on Green Bay's pass and his past with Halfley.
Besides the D tackle position, Green Bay loves to draft DBs on defense. You know,
And he's great with DBs. He's a perfectionist when it comes to that.
and you know, I don't want to beat a dead horse here, but Brett and I on the overtime with Evan and other places.
Thank you, Rob.
Huh?
Now I was thanking Rob. He said, "Great show,
Okay.
guys."
You know, and you know, we've talked about this in the past. You kind of build from the outside in on defense anymore. Your defensive backfield dictates what your front is doing. All right. So you start in the defensive backfield and you move forward, right? And that kind of dictates what's going on. And flexibility in the DBs gives you flexibility on how you rush, how you scheme the pass rush, and things like that in your front six. So
right.
And he knows that.
And you look at the Eagles as an example, because the Eagles last year, when they won the Super Bowl, who they have as pass rushers, their secondary it opened that up for them, so it made their life a lot easier. So they could so now Fangio, which he loves to play, leave his corners on the island, and because they could do that, he was able to mix the blitzing and everything up to create pass rush. That's something Hafley's apparently known for everywhere he's been with coaching DBs, including look up the job he did with the 49ers and the amount of injuries and no-name guys that were having great careers under him. Very well-coached defensive backs everywhere he's been.
Yeah, and also he going back to the D-line, he doesn't like to blitz a lot. He only blitzed like 21% of the time. And
he just mixes up the coverages.
Yeah, he mixes up the coverages as you all stated.
Yeah, he relies on confusion to confuse the line, to confuse the quarterback, and it makes them hold that ball for an extra couple, tenths, and that allows the pass rush to get there. So, yeah, I mean, again, I don't want to keep belaboring the point, but everything that they're talking about is drastically different than what we've seen the last handful of years with McDaniel.
Oh yeah, completely opposite.
So it is something to observe this offseason to see how they construct this roster in this vision, because it is a sea change. It is completely different what they're talking about compared to what they had.
And you notice the last time we thought we had this with in 2019, yet every time they would talk about it, the coach and general manager were not in sync. And these guys are in sync. And I know we heard that whole lockstep. We're never going to blame each other. And that's all that went on. These guys are actually talking about the same things together. And I know a lot of people hear emphasis run game and emphasis of power, this and that. No, they're talking. It's not just because they say that doesn't mean they're going to go physical. Listen to what they say. They don't want big, stiff guys. They want guys that with the size and the speed. So they want to beat you up physically. They also want to beat you at all three levels. And Sully is, every time he talked about offense, he talked about the wide receiver and pass game. He talks about wide receiver, quarterback. Defensively, they've talked about the defensive line and the corners. They talk about the secondary a lot. And when they talk about defensive line, I can almost guarantee you they're talking about game records and pass rushers. They're not talking about just interior D tackle. They're talking about getting after the quarterback.
Yeah, 100%. Because they don't do. He doesn't implement a lot of blitzing, so they're going to have to use the front four to do all the like you said, rushing the passer and all that kind of stuff.
Look at what
creating havoc back there.
Look at the Rams and how their defense is built, and that's how I envision the Sully that build this defense, something along those lines. I don't really see it as being how Green Bay built it or how some of the other teams are built. I see them being a little bit more physical and finally defensive ends that are not just fast or good rushers, but guys who are all around studs. That's what we're probably going to see a lot more of.
Yeah. So do you think Chop Robinson will fit in this defense? Maybe not so much as the role he played the last couple of years, but maybe they can switch him to a linebacker position. Like one of the linebackers alongside Brooks.
Or a situational rusher, I think.
Maybe. Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah, I think he's strictly a third down pass rusher right now on this team.
Yeah.
As an outside linebacker in a 3-4, he can be on the field more. As a defensive end in a 4-3, he's going to struggle holding up against the OTs and tight ends blocking him all the time. It's going to be. I don't see him being an effective, 3-down player on defense in this defense if they play this defense.
Right, and that's fine if he's a role player, that's fine. That's fine. But and before we close the show tonight, I wanted to ask you this too, both of you. You said the linebackers, you feel comfortable with the linebackers we have now. Now we know Brooks, he's a stud. He's all over the field, do you think we're going to keep Gay and Britt and Dotson?
Well, I think Gay is a free agent, but I would like to bring Willie Gay back because he is a versatile linebacker. He can play defensive end. He can play. He can blitz. He can stand up. He can play outside, inside, and that's how the Spagnuolo used him in Kansas City. So I mean, he has usage. I don't think it'll be expensive. Good tackler. Every time he was on the field, he did his job. And so I don't think Weaver understood how to use him, to be honest with you. I don't know what Weaver was doing. But I don't think that I don't think the linebackers would be bad. I think Brooks is here for the long haul. He's the kind of guy they look for. I like Averill Reese. He's a good freak athlete, good tackler. Matt Patricia made him look like an idiot in that playoff game because Matt Patricia is Matt Patricia. Same guy probably put a D tackle on a corner or at corner. Anyway, yeah. So, the linebackers, I think, will be fine. I do think they address linebackers still, though.
Yeah, I think they will too. Greg, you think they'll address linebacker in the draft in one of the rounds? Probably have to, right?
Well, I'll say it this way: it's the least pressing need on defense as far as what it would take for the draft. If somebody in the third round or beyond or something like that just really stood out and said, "Yeah, we got to have this guy," I wouldn't be opposed to it. But I'm thinking there are other areas of this team that need to be addressed first and foremost, and I would want to use my draft picks there this year. I think I think you can live with Brooks. I think you could live with Dotson, and I think you'll be able to pick a free agent or two here or there up to kind of fill in the back end of the roster. To me, it's just not a pressing need. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah, for sure. Guys, I want to thank you for coming on the show tonight. Britt, Greg, or Britt, whoever, one of you, tell me where we can find you. Or they can find you.
Well, you can find me doing shows of Fins Talk Sports Network on the OT. Find me on Twitter. My handle's right down there at Brett Legassi 67. And you find me probably I don't even know anymore. Just Twitter's just it's different now. It's kind of getting back to the way it used to be before the whole Tua hype.
I know.
You'll find me stirring the pot somewhere on there.
Yeah, for sure. Greg, and the same.
Yeah, we're going to be Brett and I join with Evan on overtime. So I think we're probably going to try to go Friday night this week, but we'll see. We'll be on at some point. I'll just say it that way. And then I'm always here to help you out with Steve when you need me. So.
I appreciate it. Appreciate both you guys. Yeah, for sure. For sure. Let me ask you one more question. This is a bonus question for tonight. Okay. Are they going to draft a quarterback this year, Greg?
I'm going to say yes. I'm not sure it's going to be in the first round, but it might be a day 2 or day 3 pick. I'm going to say yes.
Okay. Britt?
Yeah, they will. And they're going to draft one, how early, I don't know, but they're going to draft one this year and next year.
Yeah, I agree. I think they are too. I really do. And for all you guys that believe that Tua Tagovailoa will be here next year, not going to happen. Not going to happen. But thanks, guys. Appreciate you. And I thank everybody in the chat tonight. It's been wonderful. You guys have been awesome, making all kinds of comments and stuff. and I really love it. You guys showing up.
Yeah.
I've always say, I can't do this without you guys. And I do this for you guys because I just enjoy doing it. I enjoy sharing information. I enjoy, most of everything on this show is mostly my opinions. And I could be wrong, I could be right, but at least I'm going to give you an honest take of how I feel, and I'm going to keep it real on here. And so I appreciate you guys for joining the chat today. And we'll be on next week. I got a special guest coming on next week, Tuesday at 7:30 Eastern Standard Time on the Finns Talk Sports Network. Look for Real Talk Finns Talk. We'll see you then. God bless. And remember, Dolphins #1, baby. Dolphins.